Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna do the story so far on Michael 2022 edition because I'm covering the story that happened in 2022. But yeah, so about a year ago I did a video on the story so far for Michael, but it was short and I really didn't cover a lot of the story. I did a brief overview, but not the full story. But now I'm doing a more full version of that video. And yeah, but as you may know, I plan these far ahead of time. And yeah, I am a madman, but here we are. Time to do the story so far on Michael. So, for those that don't know, Michael's an SCP guard, works for the Foundation, and yeah, he's went on plenty of adventures, reformed the Foundation. Beforehand, he started investigating like the League of Villains in 2021 and had his like adventures with Rogers and all that in 2021. Lots of stuff happened. Also, the star of Jimmy, also the Michael the SCP Guard series, also his beginning with the backrooms and his eventual like disdain for like the backrooms. But yeah, but basically, let's start at the end of December just to like cover like what were some of the last things that happened before 2022. So, you know, he was, getting closer to the League of Villains by doing crime, and he also was fighting Dimentio or Dimentio, however you say it. And yeah, but it all began with SCP 2317, which was a very dangerous fire, and that's not the real 237. The big guy is. Unfortunately, it doesn't show in the thumbnails, but yeah, I used the small one as it only to eventually reveal like, oh, the big one's the Devourer of Worlds. Also, I realized something when I was doing Just More Doors. I totally forgot about 2317. Like Michael had fought it. Well, not that I forgot they fought it. Just I didn't realize in the moment one of the doors has 2317 on the door, and I didn't connect the dots and missed that. And now I've fixed that mistake. That's going to be scheduled on the same day when I have the Just More Doors, but we'll get to that in the future slash later in the video. But you'll see it later in the future. But yeah, one of the Michael the SCP Guard episodes. Yeah, again, the very series that started it all for my channel in a way, and it was an interesting one at that, being Michael teaming up with the SCPs. I regret this episode because of one thing. 096 versus 096 I feel like could have gone a different way, but since the NPCs didn't want to fight each other, or at least not in the way that they wanted, it didn't work out, and that episode wasn't exactly what I attended. Then of course we have the video that I did for the first one of the story so far on Michael, and now here we are a year later, except it isn't a year later, for me at least, but yeah, we had some other stuff that's like small adventures, the Alpha 1, the Red Right Hand, the Multiversal Council. Eventually they would be gone. Backroom stuff, Jimmy, lots of little stuff here and there, like channel trailer, but more stuff for League of Villains, bringing back the Book of Truth, an old character that was from Rogers. Michael being a researcher for a little bit. I'm just going to point out probably the most important or important stuff. Michael Parable, a parody to the Stanley Parable. Another interesting episode where there's no conflict during the episode until like the very end, being Michael the SCP got a calm day. That was interesting. Oh yeah, the beginning of the Broken God and his relationship with Michael. There's the White House, which was like the beginning of the end for the League of Villains sort of stuff. There was Alto Clef, who was introduced, and other stuff that happened. The end of the League of Villains. Unlisted videos for choose your own adventure videos, sometimes Patreon stuff, but there was other little adventures, Alpha 9 and the Omega 12. The Alpha 9 were more important than the Omega 12, but yeah, they're still somewhat important. A full journey on the back rooms, just to cover it. The end of the Michael Becomes a Criminal series right there. Michael in the back rooms, like his return. Then there was the Illuminati, because there was a hint to the Illuminati with the League of Villains. And then there was the Orb of Time, which gave origins to Michael and his backstory. Then we have the Monument for the Fallen and End of the Time Warp, but there was some other bits like Michael trying out new outfits, Michael finding out a piece of the past of the League of Villains slash the Payday Gang, whatever. More unlisted stuff for Choose Your Own Adventures slash Patreon stuff. Republic Commando, one of my favorite things. The train robbery, which was a little bit important, not the most important, but it does have some importance. Barney said, my parody to Freeman's Mind, which first came Freeman's Head, but yeah, then there was stuff that was like Michael and Dark Souls and yada yada. Also, Republic Commando, the second episode that I did in the Ghost Ship, it's a miracle that wasn't a copyright strike, because Star Wars usually copyrights music, but there was more stuff with the back rooms and also the elevator. Also, Operation Entropy would be slightly important. Other little things, more backstory, like a day at Michael's new home in the past was backstory. There was videos that told you a little bit about me, like 9 important video games and all that. Then we had other stuff throughout, tier list, because of course I had to do one eventually. Also ASMR, because when you've got to do jokes, you just got to do the joke, and plus the tier list is one of my most popular videos, so it worked out in the end. But more back rooms, the elevator, yeah, again, the series was great. More pieces of the past, 1 year of YouTube, the return of Jack Bright, yeah, again, pretty good. Other unlisted stuff that's Patreon or whatever, little adventures and more Jimmy stuff and all sorts of stuff. Michael Goes to Deus Ex, which, I've been like JC Denton for a while, and I don't know if I've changed it by the time this video is coming out, but currently I'm JC Denton, and I probably will be still JC Denton in the future. But then we have Resident Evil, which I plan to do more Resident Evil stuff, hopefully in the actual Resident Evil games, because I am a fan and do own basically all the games on Steam, whatever. And yeah, then there was more stuff, more backrooms with the archives, the truth of my YouTube channel, which revealed how I planned all this ahead. Other stuff that was important, like the Gate Guardian, more backroom stuff, more Jimmy, just more and more content, more adventures. SCP-01, the factory, and meeting him, being me, the orange puppet. You can see like unlisted like videos for like my other stuff that I've done, like the Stanley Parable, which you'll eventually be able to see. That's going to be a big one. But then you can see like episodes like When Day Breaks, yeah, again, somewhat important and also did very well. Oddly, the sequel did not do that well. Like the continuation of the story did not get as many views. But other stuff like Michael becoming an OST as the rookie, so I could have Halo 3 OST, SCPs, Michael more in the Half-Life universe because the Half-Life universe was very important. Noir, yeah, again, another very important place. More Deus Ex, more of other stuff, and then there was definitely stuff that involved mirrors a lot at different points. You have old stuff that I still like a lot. It's all by the future, but not old right now because if you look at the time, it's the 23rd, and yeah. Also, Lego Yoda Death Scream versus my own Scream. You should watch that video. I sound a lot like Yoda. Actually, let me just demonstrate it to you, and then you can go watch the video. But yeah, that was it came out like pretty long ago by the time this video, but you can hear it. You can hear it, right? It doesn't matter. But now we get on to the point where yes, this is indeed being recorded in the past. So, it's the 23rd, so, that video that's probably out by this point, has came out by this point, and yeah, you can watch it because time works like that. But you can see all sorts of stuff such as like watching paint dry the game. That was a fun experience. Autumn 2022. Again, fun, interesting experiences for Michael. Lots of these were fairly interesting, and sometimes they weren't the most story driven stuff, but some things definitely had importance. Usually the Half-Life stuff has importance. Also, Michael Across the Multiverse has a little bit of importance to events. The Truth of 106, yeah, again, slightly important things. Other adventures with Jimmy, a reference sort of episode to Michael's cruise ship with Rogers, but now is alone and actually taking care of a cruise ship as it sinks, like the Titanic. The end of Deus Ex stuff. Michael sees his old commander. There's all sorts of stuff that goes on, like this three-parter that happened on the same day, and the last episode is a choose your own thing with two choices. So not the biggest one I've done, but it has choice. And there's other stuff that happened, more backrooms, the multiversal bar, somewhat important. Michael's lost uncle. What happened to him? Is he lost? I haven't brought him back currently, so he must be gone. It's a mystery. He is truthfully the lost uncle. He came back only to be lost to time. But there was other stuff like When the Darkness Comes, more stuff with mirrors with keys. Then there was Half-Life Aftermath, which obviously plays on the name of what Half-Life 2 was going to be called with its ongoing like DLC, whatever you want to call them, the games that came after. They were going to be called Aftermath, so it's very fitting and accurate. But there was other stuff that happened, like stuff where Michael fought me, which is somewhat important. Alistair takes over the house show as a random joke that I once did. It's somewhat canon, oddly enough, because Michael makes reference to it in a future episode. I'll call out that episode later, but yeah, you'll see other stuff, the truth about the Book of Lies, all sorts of little things that were important. Also, the Return of Republic Commando, that was good. Good times. But yeah, We have other little adventures. Michael fights against the benefactors, aka G-Man's employers, and other stuff. That happened more with Jimmy, but yeah, again, this was the time where the Arbiter was around, and there was more stuff with Mirrors and QT and a murder mystery episode that I did. Then there was the beginning of extra games, so there was like 60 seconds and all that sort of stuff. And there was the ice cave, that question like Michael's self, like how good is Michael? Also, Michael's drinking problems. A lot of things around this time started to, begin questioning like how good is Michael? Like, is Michael a good person or not? Because he does definitely have some flaws as a person. But then there was like a parody, Welcome to Foundation, which, parody of Welcome to the Internet. And that was a funny thing to do. Obviously, only could do that for a small bit because copyright and all that. But that was Michael's first report. Oh Lord, that was something. First report, the beginning of a long cycle. But there was more video games starting to pop up here and there that weren't just like Gmod, Halo, or VR Chat, because those were the main ones that I used. But there was more stuff coming out, more adventures, more stuff about Jimmy, Michael, more learning about the truth, more unique adventures, more development, backstory for Mikkel. He was the second person to get backstory, after Michael being the main character. And Ollie, it's the main villain, Estev, was the main villain that gets his backstory first, then the secondary character, aka my original character, Jimmy, who gets backstory way later. But there's more stuff with Jimmy, more stuff that's important, the return of the League of Villains and Michael's return to crime, more, multiversal stuff, lots of different things, more Half-Life stuff, 3999, fairly important, somewhat important, it depends. Monstrum, which was choose your own, path sort of thing, except it was choose your own monster in that case. Michael and the Stanley Parable, other stuff, Papers, Please, Slaughtering Children is Fun, which was a small clip, but I made it longer by calling back to an old episode, and yeah, more stuff with Jimmy. Also in season 3, it's only the Acrophobia skull, because when I recorded all of it, it was before they added the bandana skull. Yay! But it's fine. It makes more sense to change things up. It would be boring to do the same thing over and over. But more stuff, more development on characters. There's just so much that's best that you watch it. There's so many little things I can point out, but it's better if you watch them. But I will point out important ones here and there. But more story, more development. Michael in Japan would be a major thing moving forward, and other stuff would happen. Roger's remastered scene, which I remastered it slightly, and other stuff with little bits of story, developing stuff, and finishing off some stories, and continuing on until eventually began the shift, beginning about right here where Michael returns to Noir again. Yeah, again, he's been to Noir multiple times, but soon enough the world gone beautiful would happen, which would be a universal reset, and everything begins again, and Rogers is gone, and everything is basically begun again, and there are a few oddities like this, but it sort of fits because this episode particularly is a reference to an old thing that I did long ago. So with it being like a restart, reset of everything, like it fits and can make sense. But there was stuff like Jekyll and Hyde. I really liked doing that, and when I streamed that, there was other things, the Enigma's Hand, which are going to be somewhat important. There's other things, more backrooms, more Jimmy, more everything. There's just lots of stuff that goes on, and I can hardly explain it all. And I can point out some things, but I'm not going to point out everything. If you want to learn for yourself, you'll see it in time. But there was little silly videos, also Clef's return. It might have happened earlier, but Clef sort of came a point. Also, Counter-Strike Edition 0, very fun playing through the game. Got 8 episodes out of that. It's probably my longest game series that isn't like Michael the SCP Guard or other stuff. It's the most consistent video series. Like, if it's just one game without changing the game at any point, then it's probably the longest so far. But there was other stuff like Jimmy unlocking his full potential, which I'm going to say is right now that his full potential wasn't his full potential. There's something I have planned around that, which will eventually happen, but you'll see in time later into 2023. But more Jimmy, more stuff, more backrooms, yeah, again, but it wouldn't be the end. The true end, it wasn't the end. Thought it would be the end, but it's never the end. More Half-Life stuff, yeah, again, Half-Life's fairly important. All sorts of stuff, because the backrooms would be featured in Endless Residence. Also, Clef, which eventually got a new look, like basically like a week, 2 later, got a new look because of an avatar that popped up. But here's the one where I reference Al. I reference in Unfinished Business in Japan, where I reference Alistair and how he took over, and Michael's like, I don't really know about that because it's trying not to acknowledge it or whatever. And yeah, more stuff with Jimmy, Michael's reports on like places he had been to with Rogers, like Noir. I think might have been the first one. I think, yeah, it was the first one. Don't know why I started with the Noir, but there was probably a reason why I started with Noir first, because Devouring came canonically first. But, I guess since, I did, when I was doing Noir all over again, like both Noir Nocturne and replaying like Noir, the original Noir map, I did it in the order of Noir, then Devouring, even though wasn't the canonical order that they have in the first time. I just thought it was best to do it that way, and I guess that's how I ordered the reports in this case. There was other stuff like Mrs. Filcher, which would return, beginning of her return, because she was a thing from the WDKS, which at this point you can't play the map anymore. I don't know by the point this video has come out that if Official Seon has ported WDKS or not, because WDKS, the map in VR chat, is gone. And he said from his message on the board that's in all his worlds is that he would port them to somewhere else. Definitely probably Unity, because they're all Unity assets, but don't know how they will play. But yeah. So this was one of the last times I actually played WDKS before it was all gone, which in this case, planning ahead and recording ahead really saved me there. But there There was more important reports on like Rogers stuff. Also, Don't Push the Red Button had something with Rogers and true canonical Rogers, but not voiced right by Riku. It was voiced by me, but it is the canonical Rogers in that episode. But there's something I'm planning where Rogers will not be the canonical Rogers. It'll look like the canonical Rogers. It'll be me voicing it again, but it is not the canonical Rogers. The canon Rogers that Michael knew only technically is in that episode, but voiced by me because Riku probably won't voice Rogers anymore. And at this point, I've done Rogers enough on my own. Like, I feel like I have the mannerisms down, just I don't like to use Rogers since it's gone and Rogers, the series, can't return, so I don't like to use like dead characters because then it just brings up more questions like, are they truthfully dead or what's going on here? So I only use them occasionally unless they're canonically alive or canonically survived, such as Charlie, which I do need to feature at some point again in the series because he hasn't got to feature in a while, and yeah, I definitely need more Charlie. But we got more backstory, like how Michael got his nickname as Michael the SCP guard because he's an MTF guard. But the joke is he's an SCP because he's literally an SCP, so it's Michael the SCP guard, which comes very like apparent from literally Day Dot episode 1 where he becomes, I think it was 939, SCP 939. But there was other reports on the Rogers, like times, there was more stuff expanding, continuing on, more Jimmy, more reports on the past, me saying Happy New Year, which basically will end off things because now we've reached now. So I'll be scheduling it on July 4th, make it a year after, the original video. So yeah, this is gonna be it. So by this point, these videos should be like the last videos you should have seen. There might be more added on, like I have plans to add on a few things here and there. Like I'm planning to bring back an old idea from KFN, this, my most stupid video ever. Well, not stupid, but most crazy video ever. So in the video, I made the idea to sell Nachi as KFC, so KFN. And yeah, it was one of my more crazy ideas. But I'm going to be making a sequel to it. I'm going to schedule it for July 20 of 2022, and it's going to be The Revenge of the Nachis. So you can already gather and imply that that guy that was in the original is not going to have a happy time, is not going to be all happy sunshine. So back in just give me a sec. Back here on the same day that happens to show the worst side of Michael, will also show one of my more bad ideas, I guess. They'll show the worst side of me, I guess. But it will be the 1 year anniversary of that video, so I will make a video called The Revenge of the Nachis, and it will feature the Nachi or Nachis, plural, trying to have revenge on the guy that once cooked them, even though he was sort of attacked by a demon at the end of the video, because he was attacked by a demon clown, like taken to Shadow Realm or something at the end of the video. But now the Nachis are going to have their revenge 1 year later. And yeah, but thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing. I don't ask it often, so it would be nice if you do that. It is free. It doesn't cost anything. And yeah, see you all next time. And I definitely have a lot planned, and definitely some more gaps I want to fill in. But yeah, see you all next time. Peace.